We thought we'd share a parable from our website by Garth Weeb that might help people to understand the concept of biblical authority. And, well, here it is. Here's the parable of the candle.
Parable of the candle, okay. Chris and Lucy entered a building looking for Manuel. In a room, they found a note and a lighted candle. Chris looked at the note and read it aloud. Hi, it's 2:30. I'm leaving to run some errands. I'll be back in a couple of hours. By the way, the electricity is out, so I lit a candle for you, Manuel. Then Lucy said, I know how we can find out how long it's been since he left. Look, the candle has been burning since he lit it, and there's a significant amount of wax that's melted and dripped down. If we figure out the rate at which the wax is melting and measure the amount of wax that has thus far dripped, we can work backwards to find out how long it is since he left.
Right. And I've known Manuel for a long time, and this is his handwriting, Chris said. Why waste your time? The note said that he left at 2:30. Lucy said, don't believe everything you read. Chris replied, look, I've known Manuel for a long time, and this is his handwriting. Don't be ridiculous. Lucy replied, yes, but what does he mean by 2:30? A note like this is subject to interpretation.
Oh, yes.
Suppose he was talking about another time zone or something. And so a short philosophical argument ensued about the note. However, Lucy prevailed and insisted on performing the measurements and calculations.
Okay, continuing on, a few minutes later, Lucy announced, well, I've got some bad news for us. Based on the amount of wax that has melted and the rate at which the wax is melting, I can confidently tell you that it has been at least one whole day since this guy left. And he was probably talking about 2:30 yesterday. And since he said, I'd be back in a couple of hours, we can assume something happened to him and he's not coming back at all. So much for your note.
Just then, Manuel walked in. Lucy said, are you this guy, Manuel? What took you so long? Manuel replied, what are you talking about? I left you guys a note saying I'd be back in a couple of hours. It hasn't even been that long. Lucy said, never mind the note. I measured the amount of wax that has dripped off your candle and the rate which the wax was melting. I know you've been gone since yesterday.
Yeah, wow. Manuel replied, but the candle isn't burning anywhere near as brightly as when I first lit it. Also, I didn't light a new candle, but I used one, and I used another candle to light this candle, and in the process, some of the wax spilled down over this other candle.
Lucy said, so you set up that candle to deceive us, to make it look like you left the room over a day ago, when in fact it's been less than a couple of hours. Manuel replied, look, I left you a note telling you when I left. I never intended for you to conduct some silly experiment measuring wax dripping off a candle to figure out when I left. I put the candle there so you guys would have some light.
You can see the parallels there, right? Between this is kind of what's happening. It's a silly little story, a little bit of fun actually. Yeah. But people, we've got the Bible. God's written, it's the note that says when God created, how he created, what the sequence that was. Then there was a global flood, and then all kinds of other events there. And people are saying, well, ignore the note, and let's do silly measurements like, how old is this tree here? Let's count the rings.
Yeah.
And say, yeah.
Let's let our fallible human mind override the authority of God's word, because what you're actually doing, the first step when you do these things, when you see, an old earth creationist, or you see a theistic evolutionist, countermanding what the Bible is saying plainly, what their first thing they're saying is, my mind has more authority than God's word, and it is able to figure out these things without God giving me the knowledge.
Yeah.
Without revelation, I can take, well, maybe there's a little bit of revelation in there, but we're going to reveal the true meaning of this text.
So they're raising their own opinions and their own beliefs above God's word.
Right. And I've actually had people say those things. Well, did God deceive us because the earth looks so old? No. Yeah. Actually, the evidence points to a young earth, and we can take God at his word.